My mic's on. Secret content. Well, with that, why don't we go ahead and get started? Whoo boy, things are crazy out there. I'm Know Nothing Attorney. I know nothing, so you can too. Because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can actually learn anything. And that's what we do here every day. Every day that we can. In updated news, my dog Lasagna is home and doing fine after her surgery. There was some remaining risk that she was going to have some brain concerns afterwards, but she seems to be doing just fine. So everything's good with Lasagna. Other than that, we're just surviving. Things are too crazy out here. Too crazy out here. Let's just jump right into what we're working on after I get some water. Okay, jumping right over to ground news. Let's do our start with the news coverage here. Then we'll jump over to some Minnesota specific stuff. Of course, here's the top news. Pentagon readying 1,500 soldiers to be deployed into Minnesota. Monstrous. Horrible. And I can't believe that Americans are continuing to support this. Conservatives are no longer conservative. They are just sycophants, it seems. They will do anything that they are told is good by the person that they voted for. They have turned off the questioning part of their brains. On Sunday, the Pentagon ordered roughly 1,500 active duty U.S. soldiers to prepare for possible deployment to Minnesota. Soldiers come from 2 infantry battalions of the 11th Airborne. I believe these are, I read paratroopers earlier today. District Judge Kate Menendez's Friday order barred federal agents from using chemical irritants and detaining peaceful protesters, which I guess makes sense to just upgrade to military force then. Historically, the Insurrection Act is a rarely invoked 19th century statute last used in 1992 by George H.W. Bush, and deploying active duty troops would shift civil-military relations amid legal challenges. Yeah, Insurrection Act is illegal at this point. Unconstitutional use of military force against American citizens. What else we got? Isn't that old? Spanberger cuts off Virginia support of ICE, which is great. Love to see that. Saw Kristi Noem say not to say, oh God, what's his name? I want to say his name is Jonathan Ross? Yeah, Jonathan Ross. Wow, I remembered his name. Proud of myself. And this was funny. I mean, it's hard to say funny. The little bit of good news amid what's going on. Jake Lang, who was arrested at January 6th, tried to have a pro-ICE rally. That's the nicest way to say it. A lot of people were calling it a Nazi rally. And I think, like, very, very few people showed up. I saw somebody say 10 people showed up. I don't know if that's an overstatement. I imagine that's an overstatement or understatement. But yeah, Jake Lang got backed into like the recess of a window on the street, and he looked like he was pissing himself. We'll see a video of that here in a bit. Iraq announces full withdrawal of U.S. forces from its federal territory. DOJ investigating Tim Walz. Okay. I'm not sure what federal law they're saying Tim Walz violated. Okay, and with that, let's head over to Reddit. I want to go to the Minnesota page. What? What do you mean? R slash? We need R slash. Let's cut the music because we're going to have some audio here. Too short, but good stuff. I want from today. We do hot. Got this Patriot here. Oh.
You live in the neighborhood? Yep, this is my block, this is my area. I don't go into other people's neighborhoods and try and intimidate them. I protect my people.
Are you giving out your name?
No, I'm okay with that. Our neighborhood showing up.
David Easterwood is a pastor.
This is where.
You guys had a lot of people out here.
Oh. What?
At least 30.
No, I want this one.
The director of the field office for ICE in St. Paul. So
Minneapolis pastor turns out to be an ICE field office director.
teaching people in this church about God is out there overseeing ICE agents. Think about what we've experienced. The murder of Renee.
This is a prime example of conservative values right here. It's like there is no value, no morality in even their religion anymore. Their version of Christianity doesn't have morality built into it. Their version of conservatism doesn't have morality built into it. It's just whatever we're told by the party we support is good, we will justify it by any means possible. They do not care.
Good at the hands of ICE. A Venezuelan national shot by ICE. A 6-month-old baby who almost died as a result of ICE unleashing military-grade weapons on our community. How dare you claim to be a pastor of God and you are involved in evil in our community?
Do you think Jesus would be understanding? We're about worship these folks. We're about spreading the love of Jesus. But did you try to talk to
That is not what you're doing at all.
Worship, which we do every Sunday, and we were interrupted by this group of protesters. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left.
Is he putting on a... Hey, Elaney, is he putting on a pastor accent? And obviously, they have not left. He is having such a good time. Look at his face. Eleni, what? If you're right wing, I'm very confused. Doubletree Hilton closing its doors in Minneapolis. Hearing reports that a man taken by ICE in Minneapolis died in federal custody. This is another senseless tragedy, so they're just taking people in and I don't want to say killing them, but they are dying in their under their protection. What's our shit show report tonight? Well, we're going through the Minnesota subreddit right now. I had at least one video that I specifically wanted to get to. Eleni, I'm constantly confused by your level of sarcasm. I don't know what is sarcastic and what isn't.
How much of a fucking asshole can you be?
Now you're this is what we're talking about. Y'all antagonizing people. Y'all instigating shit. Y'all instigating shit. Y'all bogus as hell.
In the freezing weather. I'm sure they have some warm clothes for him ready. Oh, poor baby Jake Lang. He was literally lynched at his fascist rally. Literally lynched. Wow. He's getting water balloons thrown at him against a window. That is an ad, Austin. That is an ad. Hi, baby. Well, Lasagna has successfully recovered from surgery and she is home. I'm happy to have her here. Change your voter registration from Democratic Party. I don't want them thinking I'm on their side anymore. That's a good idea. I like that. I like that. I mean, as long as you are allowed to still vote in the primary in your state.
Why are we pushed behind the yellow line now? I thought the yellow line was the limit. Can you explain that?
City Hall will be burning Qurans, standing up against.
Okay.
Here's Jake Lang.
The Somali invasion of Minneapolis, the immediate deportation of Ilhan Omar, and the arrest.
Good, good. So yeah, if there's an open primary, like, by all means, remove Democrat from your registration and still vote Democrat. Oh, this doesn't even show my favorite bits of him being pinned against the wall. Oh, okay.
Hey, TikTok. We're gonna make. Oh, wait. Can you turn the heat down really fast?
This is too long of a video. Denome denies use of chemical agents and then backtracks. Do we get a video of it? No. Why would you vote green? We do not advocate voting third party on this channel. It is a vote against your interests. Yeah, you gotta love the executive order just constantly calling judicial orders ridiculous. feel like there's a lot in that article that didn't talk about what the article title was about. It doesn't matter if you don't like the dim options. You're either voting for the Overton window to move left or to move right. And if you're voting for a third party, then you're voting against the way you want the Overton window to move. That's it, plain and simple. Nah, I will never advocate for voting third party. You get to vote to move the Overton window left or right. That's it. If you vote for a third party, then you're not voting. And if you're not voting, then you're voting for the side that you're against. What's Mom Donnie's party? Party Democratic Party? He's a member of the Democratic Party, guys. Sure, he's a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, but he's the Democratic candidate. If you have more than one option for a Democratic candidate, like if you're in an election that does runoffs, like, fine, sure. But if you're in a election of one against another, then you have one choice. Sure, yeah, do the primaries. But when it comes down to the general, you vote Democrat. This is the one that I wanted to look at. Federal agents caught embedding their selves within protesters after one is extracted by agents in a white van. Here you have literal paid antagonizers within the ranks of the protesters. Clean fucking evidence. Insane evidence. Are you one of us? Trust me, bro. Trust me. This is wild. That doesn't end the duopoly, little pound cakes. It doesn't do that. The only way within... Hold on. Within the electoral system, the only way to remove the duopoly is to move the Overton window left. Voting against the duopoly doesn't solve it. You have to vote within the duopoly to change it. That's the only way to do it, through elections. If you want to do things outside of elections, that's fine. Within elections, that doesn't do anything. It makes you feel good, but that's it. You're making yourself feel good without actually making any kind of a difference. To make a difference, you have to move the Overton window left enough to have broader support for ranked choice voting or whatever. That's it. They literally scooped up their boy. Whoop. That's nuts. Here he is. I'm with them. He's got this guy defending him saying, trust me. I'd have my eye on that guy's ass all day. I would follow that guy around. That's what I would do. Look at how anti-ice this guy is.
Yeah, save your Nazi. Put him in your Nazi van. Go get him some help. He needs a little bit of fucking...
Jesus Christ.
Don't he? Nobody got guns. Hey, you gonna look me in the eye when you spray me? You gonna look me in the eye when you spray me?
Whew, I absolutely get what you're saying, but there is not a proper left candidate that I fuck with running for governor. I'm voting third party in my primary, but inevitably I'm going to vote for the least shitty dim. Okay, all right. I'm for that. Go for it. Justice Department says it has no plan to investigate ICE agent who killed Renee Good, but will investigate Tim Walz. I'll say again, for what federal law they're saying he's violating, I have no idea. No idea at all.
Lasagna, baby.
Reports of ICE raiding western Wisconsin. Oh yeah, there's this guy who threw his camera to people as he was getting nabbed. And these are the last two pictures he took. Wow. I'm amazed that he got this one. How did you get that picture?
Tell me about what's going on here.
You know, I just came out to show my support, and you know, crows don't forget faces.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Hey all, today they took a man because he had a sign on top of his car that they didn't like. We were at a very small rally for Veterans for Peace on the other side of the Whipple building, if you know what that is. He pulled in to the parking lot where we had all parked, and they came and took him away. Then they came back
Katie Porter's the biggest.
and took his
See
car.
you next Tuesday.
Seems like
And
Grand
Swalwell
Theft Auto
votes to
to
fund
me,
Israel
but
and ICE.
we are in a lawless society
Yeah.
right now.
You're with Veterans for
Also,
Peace?
If
Nice.
your car has been taken to the impound lot in Minneapolis because
Yeah,
it
they
was
just
abandoned
grabbed this
after
guy
you
because
were
they didn't like his
abducted,
sign and then
you can get
grabbed
the
his
car
truck.
back at no cost. The impound lot is super expensive here in Minnesota because of the snow. You got to.
They're just literally taking whoever now. Right? Lawyers allege that Department of Homeland Security is denying people their Fifth Amendment right. Great. Where's that Sixth Amendment? I'm forgetting mine. Yeah, Sixth Amendment. Gotta know that. Let's turn that back down. You love it here in America? U.S. citizen wearing a hijab, born and raised in Minnesota, detained in St. Paul. Because, like Jake Lang, they're just outwardly anti-Muslim. Elaney, what makes you right-wing? What? Here we go. Here's some actual delightful video. I mean, these people are committing battery. I imagine if you're still calling yourself right-wing, you're confused. I would like a formulation of what that means. I am saying that you're committing battery as a citizen, judging what's before his eyes.
Can anybody help me?
Oh, there he is, Bovino. Head of the Department of Fascism. I didn't say piss balloons. Oh, I see what you mean. You were right-wing a couple months ago, so you're not right-wing anymore? ICE is bad. ICE is bad. ICE is objectively awful. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Gotta Naranja. Ninja, Ninja, rap. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Don't wanna get a claim on me. What's going on, Gotta Naranja? How are you doing? Border Patrol chief accused of Nazi cosplay for bizarre uniform in Minneapolis. Minnesota residents delay medical care for fear of encountering ICE. Yeah, I saw something that like a service or a group for Indian women were telling them to watch out for medical transfers. Because it seems like ICE is nabbing people under the name of a transfer. You thought you were white compared to whom? Bovino? I mean, he's not only white, he is embodying the academic concept of whiteness. He's so white. How are you doing, Naranja? You coming here to be a lefty or to discuss some conservative politics? Because I would love to talk to somebody about some conservatism at this point. That was Vanilla Ice. And that's how he sang it. And he is a white boy. Good shit. Good shit. Glad to hear it, Gotta.
I've never ever in my life seen somebody like actually. We're here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where police officers have begun taking resources like water and firewood away from protesters staging outside of the federal building.
What?
To protest Donald Trump's lawless ICE raids here in the region. So if you were ever wondering,
They're just stealing from people?
Now you know they're definitely not. They're definitely not on the side of the people.
They're just stealing from people. Daft Tracks. Good evening. How are you? Of course. It sounds like you've like solved a mystery. I understand a few of the conservative values from talking to my dad. I don't think they have any of them anymore. I understand what they say they are, but they aren't upholding them, so I don't think they hold them. What have you learned from your dad, Gotta? Right, Daft Tracks? Yeah, but I don't think they are pro-business, though. Those are just, like, that's what they've been trained to say. It's like, so, wait, you're telling me that you are pro-business ahead of maintaining rights, of maintaining constraints on the executive branch, you're more pro-business than that, that sounds like you are just sucking corporate dick. I'm sorry. You are just parroting what they've told you to say. What the fuck? Aliana, what's going on? Elaney, I will embrace you with open arms as a lefty. The left wing comprises such a broad span at this point. You can be a farther right lefty. Right Wang. When I talk about human rights and abortion, he just says he doesn't care. Okay, then he is merely a slave of the billionaires. That's all he is. And I don't think if he were pressed to actually explain his beliefs on pro-business over all of that other shit, I don't think he'd be able to do it. I don't think that is an actual value. Why does the world think they can fly with only one wing? Well, there will... A, Elaney, I think you're being sarcastic, and that's a silly thing for people to say. B, there will never not be a left wing and a right wing, just what those mean will change. Yeah. That they want lower taxes, but they are so blinded to everything else that they don't see that all of the shit that we've been doing for decades has put them in a much better economic position than they otherwise would be. And if all you focus on is lowering taxes, then you're going to end up having a worse economic position than you otherwise would have. Paying more taxes improves your economic position over time because you can support more Americans contribute to the economy booms, and you get the benefit of that. Paying taxes isn't just a net out. It's crazy. What's Friday? What? Friday? I'm gonna buy a gun in 2 weeks. Your first one? Yeah, I should really do that. My God, my guns, my family. But God forbid I care about my people. Also understand why the old rich white men are mostly Republican. Yeah, that's my dad. And I fucking told him off when he was talking about how proud he was of his contributions to the Texas Republican Party. And how much he was like, I can't believe what things have turned into. I fought the good fight against this shit all my life. And I was like, no, this is the end goal of everything you did for your entire career. You're not going to get me to say I'm proud of you for promoting conservative policy for decades. I'm fucking crazy that he was a lobbyist for the Texas Medical Association. I would think he would know better than that. I need multiple guns. I must stockpile them because one's just not enough. I gotta double wield or dual wield. That's the term. I just want my taxes to not all go to the damn LAPD. More Americans? What type of American? Oh, God. I haven't seen Civil War, but that clip is terrifying. I'm an American. What kind of American? Oh. Tried talking to my dad about these things. Like, he would not ask directions from a non-white because he will be lied to. Well, Elaney, what? Your correction just confused the shit out of me. I think the leftists are too far left. I mean, right. What? If you're saying you think the leftists are too far left, then technically the word leftist, I would agree with you. for being left-wing. That's why I don't call myself a leftist in my stream titles. I say lefty, because I don't want to claim the title of leftist, because I may be a socialist, but I'm not a communist, and I'm not an accelerationist. Yeah. Those are the real leftists, and I do not support that. Oh, here it is. Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center issues safety alert regarding out-of-state treatment transfers. Oh, here's the reporter that got tackled. We saw his pictures before. That was yesterday. All right. Let's see, like, newest posts, and then we can move on. Communists are moderate for you. Okay. Fascism is on the rise in my city. Across all of Canada, pro-remigration protesters, including in my city, have been marching, chanting, send them home. Must arm up for when they get voted into power some year. Communists don't believe in authoritarianism. Well, in broad terms, communism doesn't call for authoritarianism. Stalinism does. In any branch of communism that requires a vanguard party, yes, does call for authoritarianism, but they believe it's justified authoritarianism because the authoritarianism will end. And I think that sentence is idiotic. Oh, God, I hope we can do something against America. I hope America can do something against America. My dad is a hero. He was a veteran fighting the war on Christmas, the war on masculinity, and others. He was in the trenches with Glenn Beck and Charlie Kirk. Oh, my dad wasn't that. My dad was old-fashioned Republican. He was part of the good old boys club type of Republican. My dad helped draw the redistricting maps of Texas after the 1970 post-Civil Rights Act census that was ruled unconstitutionally racist. That's the most concise I've ever told that story before. Any system of government can be authoritarian with the wrong people. No? What? Well, then it ceases to be whatever form of government it was before it was authoritarian. They haven't learned at this point. They will never learn. My family members were communist insurgents. USA still has great economic opportunities, likely better than EU. Well, America's quickly losing a lot of its economic opportunities, and I don't think a lot of the conservatives recognize that. It's like when you cut off everybody in the world, nobody's going to want to do business with you anymore. People aren't going to rely on you for their products. We're not going to be one of the top soy exporters anymore. It's not going to happen. Germany is allying with Italy again. They haven't learned their lesson after the first 2 times. How is Italy doing these days? I feel like I remember hearing that a far-right group won power there in an election. Am I misremembering that? We mention our fathers. True, but their labor rights are far better than ours. Talking about NVIDIA and AMD and OpenAI, we are taking in billions. Great. I think that's a really... The word we is doing a lot of work there. Yeah, okay, I remember correctly. It's weird to ally with a fascist government against the impending threat of a fascist government. For an average person, life is likely better in the EU. For a high achiever in the US is better. Yeah, when those in power are just siphoning money from the people and empowering the wealthy to do so, it makes it hard to get by as your average person. Italy is switching sides? Switching sides from fascism? Or switching sides against Germany? Yeah, we're in a tight spot as a species. Conservatives have doomed us all. Maybe I should use that as a stream title. Conservatives have doomed us all. You think we'll do fine? Wow, that's a gift to use, Aliana. Aliana, where are you landing politically these days? I know you've shifted a bit. Then I don't know how you think we're doing fine. Double job gif. Oh boy. Okay. Oh right, I just opened this page. Let's look at it.
So, tell me about what's going on here.
You know, I just came out.
Anybody got some sick footage I haven't covered?
To
Let's go see if there's anything live. Is this even live? I'm tired of finding videos that aren't live. ICE is just straight up abducting random people now, and they're dying in their detention. That's crazy. I agree with many socialist values and ideas, but communist streamers usually ban you, ban me quickly. What do they ban you for? That's not federal property. That's state property right there. You are impeding traffic near federal property, please. Status coup have streams, not sure if live. Make a living from selling options. Ironically, I get banned a lot from communist and anarchist streamers chats for being a fascist. The fascism in me being wanting to arm the population and shoot feds with overstep. Who overstep? I mean, I don't know if they're saying it's because you're a fascist, then that's one thing. If it's talking about, violence openly in their chat, then that's a different thing. I'm not a fan of talking about open violence in my chat either. Shooting feds who overstep apparently isn't protected in the Second Amendment. I mean, y'all are using the same language or not the same language, but y'all are using the same logic that had the president call for the execution of lawmakers. If this illegal thing happens, we should do this thing that is properly legal in that circumstance. That's treason in Trump's eyes. Communists usually want to... I mean, that's a strange thing to call somebody a fascist for, because it has nothing to do with the state at all. Communists usually want to talk about how bad Elon Musk is. I talk about placing option bets on Tesla stock. Well, you're going to have a hard time finding me caring about that. 40 on 40 on 40? Bruh. Oh, careful hitting their car. Yeah, I'm easily confused. I don't need it to be Zoomer memes to get me confused. I'm just a little neurodivergent, and so I have a hard time deciphering what's normal. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, guys, I want to start working, and it's gonna suck because we're working with a blank page, and working with a blank page always sucks. But I want to start working on a list of grievances. You know, for a couple reasons. Like, I would like it to mirror what the purpose of the Declaration of Independence was. A list of grievances, explaining why we need independence from the system we have in place. But I think an additional thing it serves is you can just serve a shorthand list of atrocities to a person and be like, is this worth all of this? Yeah, I'm transmental. I want to pull this out and go back. There we go. I have a different neurology. That's what I'm. Yeah, no, that's not cool to say, Aliana. There are people who actually use that to come down on trans rights, and so I'm not cool with using that language. It's a ridiculous. It just proves that they don't understand what they're talking about to say that, but people do use it to make an argument against trans rights. Get a real job. I am curious, real quick. There we go. Took too many Tylenols. Now he's a lawyer. Oh no. I am not autistic. I just have like two different things that have a lot of overlap with autism. That's the problem. New ICE agents are generally paid like $50,000 to $90,000 a year. Okay. I got a little worried because there's a video where an ICE agent tells a woman that he's getting $200,000 a year, and he only has a high school education. And I was like, I don't think that's inconceivable with all the money that they're diverting to ICE. They'd just be like, hey, come work for us. We'll pay you $200,000 a year to do this shit. I have not tried DMT. I take Adderall, and it has made my life livable. My life was not livable before I started taking Adderall. I got diagnosed January of 2024. ADHD and complex PTSD. Which, according to the DSM, I have PTSD, not complex PTSD. But according to the international equivalent of the DSM, I do have complex PTSD. Because no, not from combat. If somebody has complex PTSD, it's probably not from combat. No, I have complex PTSD because my parents just acted like I didn't exist, and that's caused me some complexes, like with I've learned that I just kind of integrated the thought that I must always be wrong if somebody disagrees with me, and my opinion shouldn't be valued. I shouldn't want things. Uh, once I started like actually treating my complex PTSD, I was like, shit, I have to figure out how to figure out what I like and dislike. That sucks. Well, that's another one I've got. I've got I've got ADHD, complex PTSD, um, generalized generalized anxiety disorder, and I forget what the technical term for depression is. Um, my my anxiety has like weirded some people out sometimes. Like when I'm actually in public with a bunch of people and a lot of activity going on, I can I can do shit like that, and people are like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm not okay, but I'm okay. Like this is my normal. Raid, Maddie. I know. I've got all the alphabet. Woo! Thank you, Barday. No, I can't give legal advice. It all costs money. That would be against the ethics code. Unless I take you on as a client, and I cannot take on clients. Hey, another academic. Thank you, Barday, for bringing everybody in. Right now, we are just about to start making a, I guess I would call it a renewed Declaration of Independence against our current federal system, explaining all the issues that we have with where the federal system has gotten us, all the things that it condones and allows, all of the atrocities, that especially with the current presidency and what it has been allowed to do. We have been just reviewing some Minnesota shit. Is there anybody who's new to the channel that would like to go back and watch the evidence we have of ICE instigators in the protests? Because we watched some earlier and it's whew. Oh, thank you, Maddie. Well, it all costs money. That's the answer you're going to get every time, because no lawyer wants to risk their license on doing something that they're not supposed to do. PhD in charismatic leaders. Wow, what a time to be doing that. Damn. A subscription does not count as payment for service, especially if I'm making it clear that you are not getting legal advice from me, even if you pay me for a different service. Are you able to have an open discussion about... I am definitely able to have an open discussion about laws. I am happy to do that. Last night we had a discussion where somebody from Minnesota was talking about how they were upset about Tim Walz cutting off the funding to all the Medicaid programs because they couldn't get paid. And so we looked into that, and we went into a deep dive to figure out where that was coming from, and we got to look into the CMS order and the actual executive order from Tim Walz, and found out that really it's just CMS cutting off Minnesota to punish them. Was it Sam? Yeah, it was Sam. I will be the lawyer for the current system? Oh, you mean like where we're okay, I get you. No, it wasn't Walz. Walz hasn't cut. I think there might be one program added to 13 that were required to by CMS to shut down. Yeah, Sam was very upset, and I wanted to make sure that Sam was upset at the right people. It all costs money. Is there anything in particular that you wanted me to look at in terms of legal analysis? But let me address people one by one. Welcome, It All Costs Money. Welcome, Raw Durpin. Welcome, Barday. Welcome, Frank Big Time. I'm proud of all of you. It's getting spun throughout the news as Walz doing it. Of course it is. And then they're opening an investigation into Walz, and I'm kind of like, for what? Violating what law? What are you claiming he did? That he's intentionally benefiting off of Medicaid dollars? Is that what you're saying he's doing? So say something doesn't have a direct law yet. How would I know if I could do it or not without going to court or jail? I was about to say that's I was about to say it's ex parte. It'd be ex post facto. Anything that doesn't have a law yet is technically supposed to be, like, in our current climate. I have no idea. I don't know what this Supreme Court would say. I don't know what this executive branch would do. But if you do something that is currently not prohibited by law, then no one can pass a law to punish you for doing that thing. And most laws tend to have a time where, like, they go into effect at a later date. So that legally, in terms of theory, is supposed to be like the public has been put on notice, and they've had enough notice that they now know not to commit this crime or to do this act. You heard about the investigation? Wait, did the live feed stop? What's going on? Okay. I heard about that investigation. Taco Trump always tries to do that and then fails hard, like with Jack Smith and Letitia James. I don't know if he's failing. The idea is just to perpetuate the anger of his base. And if he just talks about doing an investigation and then doesn't do it, the people will remember the part where there was supposed to be an investigation, and they will just cite to that. Or even if they don't cite to that, it will be ingrained in their subconscious memory and be like, oh yeah, I remember it being justified, and so I'll be angry about it. I've never understood exactly what it means to be proud of someone else. It feels a bit like a claim on some of the credit for it. No. I just want you to feel recognized in having valid claim to you doing something worth recognition of. I want you to feel recognized for doing difficult shit and coming through it. And I will always welcome anyone, if you want to tell me something that you would like someone to share being proud of you for, and it's something that, like, you're like, I can't really bring this up with friends and stuff like that, because then they would just be like talking myself up or whatever. If you need some backup and feeling recognized for something, let me know. I'll be proud of you for it. Hell yeah. To quote the Canadians during World War I, it ain't a war crime if it's the first time. It's intimidation and narrative and potentially trying to bankrupt them. That's the, yeah. So if I 3D printed all the parts for and a QR code to the instructions to put them together so that a person would have a completed one-time use ghost gun and then put them in a giant basket on your porch and gave them away instead of candy for Halloween. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. I imagine states would have to make laws about 3D printed guns before that could become, like, parts for guns, the, like, necessary assembly for guns. Like, if it came with all the parts necessary to put them together, I think that would still be considered a firearm. That's the gimmick, getting them a tiny bit of news bit in the media, and then people remember just enough for it to be, I remember when so-and-so was sued. Yep. Doesn't that seem like it should have its own word? What should have its own word? Would I be breaking any laws? Yay, validation. A simple yes or no would suffice. Well, I don't know. I would have to know what state you're in, and then I would have to look at the laws. Maybe I have misunderstood pride my whole life, and it's more social than internal. I think one can have pride in themselves. And if you want me to say a different word, I will gladly do it for you. If you want recognition, I will recognize you for the shit that you have accomplished. I think we all know the answer to that one. You know, people pay people for worship/recognition. Like that rent a family member service in Japan? What? Zero desire to do so. I'm just honestly scared for the future. Our collective Twitch dad is proud of us. Yeah, I'm always happy to be the collective dad. VTubers who get... Like I have a whole Discord that like I helped arrange like a role play server a few years ago, and it turned out to be like a bunch of like young 20 somethings who are like either neurodivergent or queer in some way, and I was like the most cis het vanilla person, and it just ended up being like collective group dad, and like it continued to just be a community for everybody to feel like safe when they didn't feel like they had a community in their like physical reality. And I was like, I'll happily be your dad and be proud of all of you. I don't know anything about Young Thug. I'm not asking for anything. I'm genuinely questioning my understanding. I think it is about recognition. Like a nail that is proud is one that sticks out above the surface, and a person who is proud is someone who wants to stand out from the crowd. Well, so there I do think there are two different terms for pride, and I think they are easily conflated. Um, and I think one in in the way you're talking about, well, both you're talking about both ways. Where it's about recognition, I think one can rationally recognize themselves. Like I think that is a part of healthy a healthy internal psychology is being able to uh, be proud of things you've done, to recognize yourself for your accomplishments. Like it's part of my complex PTSD issue that I constantly have to combat this urge to look at myself and be like, you have no value. And I'm just like, dude, like, yeah, you're an attorney. Like you have a very high paying job. Like you have friends who all love you and are impressed by your accomplishments. And like, you're okay. You're okay. So you do need to recognize yourself and the things you've done. Thank you, Rod Durpin. Thank you. Not being impressed with oneself. It's about gaining recognition for oneself. Right. Yeah. You don't you don't have to be impressive to like have somebody be proud of you. Like even somebody who tries hard, who puts a lot of effort into something and doesn't get very far doing it, has done something worth being proud of. Collective Dad and his Discord kids. Yeah, that's me. Like weird video game role play people. That's my corner of the internet. I used to think I wasn't human because of stuff that happened in my youth. Aliana, you might have complex PTSD because it is a common unifying symptom of complex PTSD to feel like you are in some way other than normal people. Yeah. I think things that are worthy of pride are things that are like um I don't want to say fearless. I guess dauntless effort in the face of challenge. That is what is deserving of pride and recognition. I think all of us do that to one degree or another. Some of us do more things than others, but all of us do something that is worthy of being proud of. And so I do want people to feel like at least I am proud of them. And all I need to know is you are here. You are here, and I'm proud of you for that. That itself is a challenge. Other than is the exact thing I feel like, and the exact words I use. What the fuck? What is daunt? Dauntless is, I don't want to say fearless, because you can be afraid and still do things. But like, I guess that's what I would describe dauntlessness as. I don't want to say that, I don't want to say you're fearless and that you have to be fearless to overcome challenges. You are allowed to be afraid of something and to still push forward. And that's what I would consider dauntlessness. Okay. Let's put some music back on. Apparently the live feed. Actually, before we go back to work, I do want to bring up that video one more time. This is not the one I wanted. There it is. We're going to watch this one more time. And then we're going to get to work. Because we got more people here to see this insane shit. Oh. So these people are suspicious that this person is an instigator. Ever see that little girl princess party that fought the dragon? What? No. Actually, maybe. He's one of us, guys. Sus himself. Here comes the van. You all right?
Back up. Back up.
They're out there, guys. They're out there.
He needs a little bit of fucking mental health there. Don't he? Nobody got guns. Yeah, you gonna look me in the eye when you spray me? You gonna look me in the eye when you spray me? You gonna be just like the fucking
Well, Maddie, that's a whole different subject. Right here, we got an ICE instigator in the protest crowd. Yeah. They're out there. This is just one of them. Just one. And if we're just catching one, I hate to imagine how many are not being caught. I'm going to let it play through just because the last image is just so disconcerting to me. I hate this shot. Yeah, Daft Tracks, I don't remember seeing one where it's like this blatant of like, yeah, we have direct evidence. Just like load them up in the van. They figured one of our boys out. Let's load him up in the van. Oh my god, it's a Charizard? Is there no volume slider here? No volume slider? Wow. Okay. Well, you said to mute it anyway, so. Oh, there it is. There it is. God dang. Tall ass video. Surely there's an easier way to do this, Austin. With Minecraft swords? Fucking get him! That's good. That's good. Train our women to be warriors. There was a guy who burned a flag and people confronted him on video about why he was bailing immediately and kept asking him who he was. Yeah, she was scared. And then they helped her combat that. Really worried about my country will have a federal agency do remigration in the future. They look so scared, yeah. I want some conservatives to get in here tonight. I want to ask them about all this shit. and be like, what is it for? What are you getting out of this whole ICE business? We're losing so much and gaining what? Sure would be nice if we were all secure in our persons. Yeah, it would be nice. It's not an easy task. What, you think I should take alleged out of it? I thought that would be good bait. In Canada, they want remigration because they want historic Canadians as their majority. So native peoples? That's always just a cover for my preferred people. Because you don't mean originals. They being conservatives, yeah, they. But those aren't historic Canadians. Gotta wind time back farther. Like, I love the justification of, like, well, we took it. We took it by force. We claimed it. So that makes it justified. It's like, okay, then... So I would be justified in just letting these people stay here then. Okay. How is that justification any better than what's happening right now? Hudson Bay Company. Yeah. Okay, let's begin this long, tedious work. I guess we just need to list shit off, and then we can organize it later. First off is... how do I want to phrase the issue of the fake electors plot? Not holding election fraud people to account. I don't... Maybe I just put down fake electors plot and just reword it later. We are doing grievances against the current federal system. Sure, I like conspiracy better. Well, no, because people don't understand what that means. People would get the meaning of conspiracy all wrong and then think it's... They would look at conspiracy and be just like, oh, so you don't have evidence. Failure to hold fake electors, plotters to account. I know that's a conspiracy theory. I know the difference. I know the difference. Okay, how about this? I took criminal law. What, you think I don't know what a conspiracy is? Oh, cool gut. You seem like a cool person. What's going on? Yeah. So I'm not gonna ban you, but I will delete that message. You wanna enter more chill? You wanna take a chance to be more chill? I've decided that I don't want to like have the goy word thrown around in my chat. I just don't trust it. Yeah, that was in fact not a normal message. That was less than normal. An odd first message in a chat. Press X for doubt, but Cool Gut, what brings you to chat? I'm not gonna freak out on you. If you came for a freak out, it's not gonna happen. Normal in a Rumble chat. Black pill versus white pill. What is... Hi, Mexican madman. That's also not a normal first chat message. What kind of things do you love, Cool Gut? What kind of politics do you enjoy? It doesn't have to start with fake electors. That's just my pet peeve. Right now we're at the very, very beginning of making a list of grievances, as in the type of grievances listed by the Declaration of Independence, against the current federal system. So if people want to throw them at me, well, we'll put them up in the list. Paul Manafort, after all, was Trump's first campaign manager. I mean, yeah, sure. Failure to address foreign interference in federal elections. I can just say elections in general. Maddie, can you give me like a full concept? Does Israel control the U.S.? No, that's a silly thing to say. But I know what kind of person you are now. Executive seizure of war powers. Executive seizure of power of the purse. Executive seizure of agencies. What do I think about Greenland? I think it's owned by Denmark, which is a sovereign nation that has the right to defend its borders and decide whether or not it wants to sell territory. Should the US go nuclear and steer away from solar and wind? I mean, ¿por qué no los dos? Los tres? Okay, Cool Gut. What do you think about Greenland? Oh. Do you think Jewish oh my god, what is with all the, what's all these folks doing in here all at the same time? Do you think Jewish leaders in the U.S. serve Israel over the U.S.? For example, Barry Weiss? I think it's really weird to group a collective of them together. If you want to ask about individual people, that's one thing. I don't really have an opinion as to whether specific individuals serve Israel over the U.S. I'd be interested to see evidence of that, as I would, federal leaders who serve any nation over America. The NRA being taken over and weaponized? I like Greenland. I think it's big. Okay. So, who should own Greenland? I smell Tanner 1. Wow, Aliana, you remember the name. I couldn't have told you the name Tanner 1. Sounds a lot like Tanner 1. Nuclear, if done correctly, is the safest and longest term energy source. It also creates less waste and produces more megawatts. Okay, but I don't think we should rely on any one energy source. The NRA acted as a foreign asset for Russia in the period leading up to the 2016 election. Oh my god, I forgot about this. Drawing on contemporaneous emails and private interviews, an 18-month probe by the Senate Finance Committee's Democratic staff found that the NRA underwrote political access for Russian nationals. Maria Butina, that is a name I have not heard in a long time. And Alexander Torshin, more than previously known, even though the two had declared their ties to the Kremlin. Who are they? Tim Pool? The government pushed nuclear after 3 Mile Island. We should focus on nuclear because lithium is genuinely horrid for the environment and batteries in general need to be stopped. What about Somalian immigrants? How are Somalian immigrants different than other immigrants? That is what you said. Tim Pool isn't smart, but I think he doesn't need to be smart to know who's bankrolling his operation. Hey, I think you're a little bit confused about the concept of Somalian immigrants and some people who are Somalian immigrants. This is a logical fallacy that you have built into your thought process. Yeah, it's not Somalian immigrants who are guilty of that. It is people who are Somalian immigrants. What about Danish immigrants? UJO, I'm just going to head you off, and I'm going to point out to you that if you are looking at people who commit crimes and then looking at people who look like those people and saying they must be like them, that is a broken mental faculty on your part. You just don't think well, and you need to address that. Like, how basic do you have to be like, well, this person looks like that criminal. They must also be a criminal. What? Dude. Yeah, just hate people who commit crimes. Not minority groups that the people who commit crimes happen to be part of. Yeah, hate Donald Trump for the crimes he commits. Daft Tracks, that was a more direct way to say the thing I was saying, and I tried to soften it a little bit. It is very likely that Somalian immigrants commit less fraud on average than European descent citizens. This is true. We know that immigrants commit less crime in general. Did UJO already bail? Did they say what they wanted to say about Somalians? Somalian immigrants? What about government officials affecting the stock market like Nancy Pelosi? That's because there are less immigrants? What? No, Mexican Madman, the rate of crime. How do you guys, like, how do I have to explain this to conservatives so frequently? When they measure the likelihood of a group of people committing crime compared to other people, they're not comparing it number by number. What's happening? What was that? Where is that coming from? Okay, let's just close that. Let's close that. Okay, just get rid of it. The audio out of nowhere. Mexican Madman, there's no such thing as a centrist. If you're calling yourself a centrist in this political climate, then you're a right winger who doesn't want to claim that. Okay, let me ask you this. Would you like the Overton window to move left or right from where it currently sits? Would you like the Overton window to move left or right from where it currently sits? That doesn't make any sense, Cool Gut. Thoughts on Harriet Tubman? Harriet Tubman was a hero? Mexican Madman, the short answer to the difference between Obama and Trump in that is, at a minimum, the amount of time that people were intended to be housed in those detainment centers. Trump just threw them in there and closed the door. I'm waiting for these centrists to tell me which way they would like the Overton window to move. I am less, as an American currently, I'm less concerned about Venezuela than America's involvement in Venezuela, which was unconstitutional and extremely concerning. Probably one of the scariest things to ever happen in America. Which, in your opinion, is which, UJO? This is what I'm talking about. This is just people on the right who are too afraid to claim it. I'm talking about the current time being now. Right. You want the Overton window to sit right where it is, which is insanely right. So you are not a centrist. This is just masked quote-unquote conservative. I would call it radical rightism. The current climate is insane, dude. Yeah, Mexican Madman, but it can't be changed by just breaking it. That isn't how it's intended to be changed. You're in a channel with an attorney who wants to have a constitutional convention to change the Constitution. That is not what's happening. You have a president who is just seizing legislative power, who's denying judicial power, seizing war powers from the Congress. He's seizing administrative power that he has no right to. And with administrative power comes legislative and or semi-legislative and semi-judicial power. All things that the president isn't intended to have. UJO, this may be true, but if you like the current political climate, if you don't want it to change from what it currently is, you are a right-winger. I'm sorry. In the current political climate, there is no such thing as a centrist. I didn't say you claimed to like it. I was in reference to what I was saying to Cool Gut earlier. Yeah, it almost sounds like authoritarianism. And with the other details surrounding this brand of authoritarianism, it sounds a lot like fascism, Daftrax. We are currently in the process of a fascist transition. The amount of consolidation of power in a single person that is going on now is something that the the founding fathers never wanted and were terrified of. Then, Mexican Madman, welcome to the left. You want to change it from what is going on. You are on the left now. Hate to break it to you. No, I didn't assume that. I'm saying you're not a centrist. A centrist would not want the Overton window to move. And if you want the Overton window to not move in the current political climate, then you are sitting far on the right. Far, far on the right. So you can say you're a centrist, but that centrist would be equated with a radical rightist. If you want the Overton window to move left, you are objectively on the left. Damn, it's almost like that's how politics works. Holy shit. What? Yeah, it was UJO who said Orange Man bad, so everything. Oh no, it was Mexican Madman. Mexican Madman, what good has Trump done? Oh yeah, that's a good one. Let's do that. Trying to back you into I'm not trying to back you into a corner. I'm just telling you where you are, dude. You either want the Overton window to move left, so you're a leftist. You want the Overton window to move right, so you're a rightist, or you like the Overton window where it is and you are a centrist. If you are a centrist in this political climate, that is just sitting over there in the radical right, where it's adopting radical right positions as normal. So a centrist would be a radical rightist at this point. No, capitalism kills people. It definitionally creates poverty. So I don't think that works, no. No, I'm in this current political climate, yes. I am saying that. Yes, I'm a social democrat. No, democratic socialist. Dead ass. Yeah, capitalism just creates horrible living conditions for everyone on like who isn't the capital class. I mean, just look at Republicans that are like re-legalizing child labor. Woo! Let's go! Republican Party! Love that shit. Kids dying in heavy machinery? Love it. Kids should have the right to work. When the last capitalist is killed, he's the one that would be selling you the rope. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Grim8 in YouTube chat says it makes sense that an attorney would prefer reformist socialism. Okay. You mean as opposed to what, communism? As a So the countless examples of history of socialism killing millions of people, we just ignore that? Well, that wouldn't be socialism that did that. I would love to see evidence of that. Yeah, Grimmate, I see your revolutionary socialism. I would say anything that would subvert the free will of the people is something I would be against. You don't deny that we live in a capitalist system, do you? I haven't seen a socialist system. I mean, I think what Cuba has had some level of socialism, and they have vastly better healthcare outcomes than we do, and they have more doctors graduating than we do. Favorite president? FDR. Well, UJO, I'd be interested what you would say a socialist nation is. Like, you have an example? Yeah, FDR ushered in like a radical improvement in America's presence on the global stage and led to our our economic, I don't know what to say, just rocket ship up to where we are, where we were, where we have been going. And it's just been a bunch of social policies, and it's just been capitalist interests that have been dismantling that ever since the 1940s. Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to say that you like any president because presidents are just ass, period. Presidents all use executive power, and executive power is something we should all hate. China is not socialist. What are you talking about? Richard Nixon and Andrew Johnson, okay, clear. Okay. Mexican madman, what has Trump done that has been good? Yeah. Show me a country where the workers own the means of production. Yeah. Yeah, that's the bullshit right there. So much for the party of free speech, right? Google is free? Socialist market economy with Chinese characteristics. Well, let's read a little bit deeper. Mm. I don't want to make it much smaller than that. I guess I can be okay with that for the moment. People's Republic of China has a developing mixed socialist market economy, incorporating industrial policies and strategic 5-year plans. China has the world's second largest economy by nominal GDP. What are the sections on this? Don't they usually have like a breakdown of the sections at the top? Why is there not one here? Oh, it's over here on the side now. Socialist market economy is the economic system and model of economic development employed in the People's Republic of China. The system is a market economy with a predominance of public ownership and state-owned enterprises. The term socialist market economy was introduced by Jiang Zemin during the 14th National Congress of the Chinese Communist Party in 1992 to describe the goal of the reform and opening up. So, first off, UJO, when you said Google is free, does that mean you looked up the economic system of China and you saw socialist market economy and you said, therefore, it's socialist? Is that what happened? Because you realize that was a term invented by a Chinese politician in the CCP. Surely you wouldn't say that China is communist, because this guy's in the Chinese Communist Party. Public ownership in the socialist market economy consists of state-owned assets, collectively owned enterprises, and the publicly owned shares of mixed enterprises. These various forms of public ownership dominate the socialist market economy alongside substantial private and foreign enterprises. Oh, so the state and private and foreign enterprises own all of the means of production. So if the state isn't distributing the ownership of the means of production among the people, then it's not a socialist economic system. They are just calling themselves socialist. Cool gut. But you realize that's in stratification, right? Why should people have to submit to the harms of poverty? Why do we require that? Also, a big part of the problem with capitalism is that you gain your benefit, your wonderful luxury, off of the backs of other people that have to suffer the consequences of capitalism in other countries. All you guys care about is a stock price going up and becoming a global superpower. You could literally care less about... What the fuck are you talking about? What? Who in here is caring about stock prices? Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, like, the stock market is literally only a measure of the, like, economic quality of, like, the people at the top, the capitalist class. Not even true? Are you serious? Like, a lot of our big retailers, like, literally operate off of sweatshops. What are you talking about? Nestle literally buys the water rights in other countries. They buy the water rights in California. Why does Nestle have the right to our water? Because they can buy it. And cool gut, if I live luxuriously and someone else is suffering because of it, I'm not okay with that. That is your moral failing in my eyes. Yeah, if we can have universal health care, if we can have better workers' rights, if we can have a baseline level of housing and food, then we should. Why should the wealthy bogart all of that? Yes, affordable housing for all, but baseline housing for everyone also. Like literally, oh, sorry, a Grim8 in YouTube chat, I don't know how long ago that was. Typically, Marxism is interpreted as advocating for a transitionary period between capitalism and socialism. Sure. I mean, I think it's advocating for socialism, not the transitionary period, because the transitionary period would just be leading to the outcome. Mexican Madman, everyone should be... The problem with that is you say they obviously can. That makes the external person, that makes the observer the judge of whether or not that person could or should be working. Every person should have the internal ability to judge for themselves whether or not they should be working, whether or not they can be working. Everyone should have a right to a minimum livable level. We can do that, and everyone should have that. Because not working shouldn't mean you should die. Someone was talking about becoming the #1 global superpower, and I was simply comparing that to a stock, like you're trying to invest in America's stock rather than America's stock. If you were socialist, most people's standard of living would go way down. On what basis? Current living standards are still down under capitalism? Yeah, like, people can't afford homes. What are you talking about? People are struggling to, like, have any kind of savings. They have no way to invest in their future. People can't afford education. So what if a completely healthy man thinks he can't work? Because you don't know what the fuck's going on with him. If he doesn't work, that doesn't mean he should die. So the majority of Americans living paycheck to paycheck is okay because other countries having it even worse? Yeah. Let's not aim for better. What happened to, like, the light on the hill that America's supposed to be, right? Good thing about capitalism is it prevents bottom feeders. A person should work. I guarantee the millions of homeless... It prevents bottom feeders off of threat of death, and I don't think that's moral at all. And it doesn't even guarantee that if you work, you will be able to survive. The good thing about going completely socialist is not the answer to this. I don't see why not. I haven't seen the argument against it. What are you talking about dying, bro? If a completely healthy man with no problems think he can't work, he shouldn't. I'm saying that what right do you have to be the judge of whether or not he should work? Grim8 says, so saying that a country isn't socialist because the economy isn't fully owned and operated by the workers, especially when such countries are then sanctioned out of the global market? Saying that a country isn't socialist because the economy isn't fully owned and operated by the workers, especially when such countries are then sanctioned out of the global market. I think I'm following what you're saying. Like, nations can be on a socialist trajectory. And yes, most nations that are on a socialist trajectory are wiped off the at least historically wiped off the face of the planet by America. Or they're at least the government is, and replaced with a regime that's favorable to America and capitalism. I'd rather be homeless than work in a sweatshop. What? Who are you talking about, UJO? Who? Mexican madman. Full democracy is also an evil. There should be constitutionally protected minority rights because every person is a minority. Yeah, which one, UJO? So you'd rather be homeless than be in a country that America attacks? Well, great moral claim for America. Yeah, every person is a minority. There is something about you that puts you like, hey, cool gut, are you a guy? Then you're a minority. Congratulations. Every person is a minority in some way. And however some group of people divvies themselves up to be the majority, then if it's purely democratic, then they can infringe upon someone else's rights. I told him several false things about what he knows. You mean like he thinks he knows and believes things that are false that I pointed out to him? Right, cool gut, but being a majority isn't a concern. Being a minority is a concern. UJO, do you know any people in your personal life from China? Because my best friend lived in China for 10 years and his wife is Chinese. What's up, Das Storch? How's it going? If you're poor or have to work to survive, congrats, you're part of the 99%. Yay, a majority, let's go! No, I was just saying that to UJO. You were trying to talk about China and... Right. Yeah. That's what I was trying to confirm. Glad we could get into a conversation on socialism. I don't claim to be the most knowledgeable on economics. Being a minority is a concern, then you are a racist and believe people should be treated differently simply because they are a minority? What? How did you get that? I wasn't even talking about race. Am I also sexist against men? What? Am I also... hold on. Yeah. Right. I'm saying everyone should have equally protected rights, dude. Nice try, though, I guess? Pure democracy does not equally protect everyone's rights. Yeah, that's a big stretch. Seeing some logical fallacies over and over and over again. UJO, can I ask how old you are? Do you mind? Oh, I meant Mexican Madman, not UJO, sorry. But Das Storch, hopping into my chat on your way to or before work for your first time, I appreciate that. I don't know how you found me, but thank you. Okay. It's the word I'm looking for. I'll do unsanctioned. I don't know what to make of conversations like this. It seems so unlikely that you'll be allowed to actually address any point without them just auto shifting to something else. Yeah, I mean, guys, usually I do this over voice chat. You're welcome to come up into the Discord and we can do a voice-to-voice conversation. What's happening? What? Cheesecake or pie? Pie. Holy shit, my birthday just passed. I didn't have any pie. God damn. I didn't have any pie. Fuck. That's so fucking heavy, dude. If minorities get treated differently, but you said everyone is a minority, how is that logical? What? How is that? Fuck, dude. If you're talking pure democracy, then whatever majority holds power can decide the outcomes for the minority. Whatever majority that is can change at any time. The point is that anyone can be singled out as a minority by some kind of majority. So everyone can potentially be treated differently, can potentially be destated by a majority. If a minority can be destated, then anyone can be destated by the majority under a democracy, and that's monstrous. Cherry, if you're having a hard time understanding Mexican Madman, that's your failing, not mine. Yeah, this is simple. Everyone should have equally protected rights. It's not that hard. Yeah, women should not be able to establish Amazonia by banishing all men or subjugating all men. Exactly. Thank you, Frank Big Time. Mexican Madman. Under a purely democratic system. We are talking about a hypothetical of a purely democratic system. Under a purely democratic system, then no one has rights. Guys, please follow the conversation. My God. What the fuck? Grim8, I know it's awful. I hate cake in general. I'm a pie guy. I like birthday pie, and I totally missed my opportunity to have pie. I can never have pie again, I guess. It's cool watching this channel grow in real time. Someone subbed while in chat. Oh, thanks. We've been going for what? When did I start? I started weekend of Thanksgiving. Wow. Wow, it hasn't even been 2 months. I mean, the YouTube channel has been going a little bit longer, but most of that has just been me working on that first video. I started Twitch the weekend of Thanksgiving. Oh, here I need to slide into the conversation. As a German, I can say minority rights are important. No shit, Das Storch. What? This is why a constitutional democratic republic is very important. What are the Twitch subs like? Let's see. I mean, actual subs. I don't know if I have subs. I've got 68 followers. I don't know if I have any subs yet. Yeah, 0 subs. I only like recently got access to subs. I think some trolls helped me get over the line to affiliate, which was really funny. You may think this is splitting hairs, but your question is asking about life in the US, which is not a pure democracy. Yeah, wait, is that the confusion? Do y'all think we live in a pure democracy? Also, you guys can call me Austin. I didn't introduce myself by name earlier. You can call me Know Nothing Attorney KNA or Austin, whichever. And I live in Austin, Texas. And I'm from Austin, Texas. And I am tragically ingrained in Texas politics through my lineage. Mexican Madman, what conversation are you having? What laws made in the past? How about removing trans people from the military? The president also proposed removing the rights to the Second Amendment rights of trans people. No, no's fun too. Mexican Madman, you don't believe in science then? I'm sorry that you hate science. Mexican Madman, if you're gonna have that kind of conversation, I want you to come up in Discord chat. Let's have a conversation. How could socialism not become tyrannical? By being democratic? The economic system doesn't determine the political system. I don't know what you're talking about. I know, Raw Durpin. My parents were very uncreative. I'm also the third A name. A man cannot become a woman, by the way. I agree, Mexican Madman. A man cannot become a woman. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. Cis or trans. Yeah, dude, people can identify themselves as whatever the fuck they want to identify themselves as. Do you think that North Korea is democratic too? Daftrax, I think you're at that point having a pointless conversation. Mexican Madman knows you think sex and gender are different. Yeah. UJO, we're literally living under a tyrannical transition right now. The fuck? Companies are being threatened with punishment if they don't agree with the president. Universities are being threatened with funding if they don't agree with the president. Law firms are being threatened if they go after the president. People like me who are online and have anti-capitalist and anti-Christian speech are prone to be investigated because of that speech. Almost every dictatorship today identifies as capitalism. Also, UJO, the president is committing acts of war without congressional approval, which is not a power that he has constitutionally, so I don't know what you think you're talking about. Hey, Mexican Madman, in the Discord, I am in the waiting room waiting to have a conversation. So hop on up here, big boy. Let's go. Show me what you know about gender. Let's do it. Almost every dictatorship today identifies as capitalist and democratic. So what is your point? Self-described words often don't fit the definitions. Not America, which is what we're talking about. Also, maybe I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but that's just not true. UJO, do you think North Korea is democratic? Or a republic? Let's prove it to you in one. I'm not going to get bullied by the left to have a conversation on how women can't be men, and vice versa. You just said that women can't be men, madman, Mexican madman. And I agree with you. What's the problem? So you want to bully trans people, but you don't want to talk about it on air? You're afraid to talk about it, but you just want to bully them in text? Big, strong person. I don't know, little pound cakes. It's all, you know, that's how I got into debating in the first place, and it's like my personal pet peeve, and it's one that I'm like most comfortable debating or having a conversation with. The sign above my head, guys, says that we're welcome to just have a friendly conversation. We don't have to have a debate. UJO, the official name of North Korea is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. So are they now democratic and a republic? Thanks, Grim8. I appreciate that. How can I take that? Okay, well... But earlier you said the USSR identified itself as socialist and it was ruled by a tyrant. So... How come people change their gender if they are not obviously mentally confused on something? How about you come up here, Mexican madman? Let's have a conversation. You seem like you're insistent on talking about it, so let's have an actual conversation, because I don't want to sit there while you type a long answer and then I have to read your answer out loud and then you sit there and type a long answer. Let's just have a conversation like normal people. And people also don't change their gender. They have a gender. The person who I was replying to claimed that most tyrannical governments are democratic. I mean, some people have a gender that shifts between things, I guess. And some people change their identification with their gender, but generally that would just be realization of certain things, not that it changed. Yeah, you wanted an example of a law in the past 5 years that negatively impacted a minority group, and I named one, and you're like, but they're mentally ill, which isn't even an argument about them being a minority group. You also said China is socialist because they call their economy a mixed socialist market economy. So for China, you accept the name as reality, but not for North Korea. Yeah, Rod Durpin, I apologize if I misrepresented how gender functions for you. It's a little bit complicated. But conservatives love to, like, they love to say, well, if you read a middle school textbook, it'll tell you blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, most of us don't stop at middle school textbooks. That's very surface level. Things get a little bit more complicated there the more you research. Because you're a mean person, Mexican madman. I just want to have a conversation with you about you being a mean person. I love the fight in you, Frank, big time. You're killing it. I'm past fighting on that issue. I appreciate your effort. I didn't know who I was till I was in my mid-20s because I was raised in a Christian extremist cult. I mean, how's that any different from Christianity? It's just been around longer. Genuine question, why do you think people actually switch and change genders? In general, Mexican Madman, they don't. They just have a gender. And their gender is different from what their sex is. Those are two different terms. And Mexican Madman, fucking come up in the voice chat so we can have an actual conversation. I promise I won't approach it as a debate. I will have a conversation with you. Guess who farted this guy? Oh, budget JD, hate to make you go turn in your shit law degree. Minnesota changed its use of force laws in June 10th of 2025, where what happened to your BFF Renee Good riddance shooting was lawful under state law, so go hire a paralegal because your research blows. Source? Well, Mexican Madman, when we're talking about gender, we're not talking about sex. It's not a biological claim, my guy. Oh, no, you can't say that one. But you can show me which law you're talking about. If you're so smart, guess who farted this guy? Oh, you want to be a tough guy? You know, show me your shit, my guy. Don't be a coward about it. Damn. The social credit system isn't an economic thing, UJO. Well, that's not how you cite a law, but okay, I'm sure I can find that based on what you posted. Actually, I got a 176 on the LSAT. And I also taught the LSAT. No, guess who farted this guy is just a really fragile person. Okay, let's do this on screen because I'm curious and I'm not afraid. Okay. This guy's in the what top the top 0.4 percentile. Okay, let's back it up to chapter 609 and let's see what this chapter is actually about. This is just the criminal code in general. Okay. It says 2025. Oh, look, the law cunty? What? I don't think the social credit thing has much of anything to do with their economy. It isn't a socialist policy. You think it's an anti-democratic policy, I think, but that's not at all the same thing. Wow. Guess is so fragile. Calm down. 2025 Minnesota statutes. Except as otherwise provided in subdivisions 2 through 4, reasonable force may be used upon or toward the person of another without the other's consent when the following circumstances exist or the actor reasonably believes them to exist. When used by a public officer or one assisting a public officer under the public officer's direction, in effecting a lawful arrest, in the execution of legal process, in enforcing an order of the court, in executing any other duty imposed upon the public officer by law. First off, I don't think these laws apply to federal officers. I think this is for state officers, but okay, let's treat them as if they're state officers for this purpose. when used by a person not a public officer in arresting another in the cases and in the manner provided by law and delivering the other to an officer competent to receive the other into custody. When used by any person resisting or aiding another to resist an offense against the person. Okay. What are you saying that this says about the Renee Good case? Because the main issue was the use of lethal force. I mean, you might have an argument about use of force in general. That would just be pulling someone to the ground and cuffing them or whatever. That's use of force. That does not justify use of lethal force. Do you have a reference to lethal force? I think that's the one that most people are upset about. Of course, ICE is authorized to use force? What? Grim8 says the social credit system isn't a thing in general. In YouTube chat. That's interesting. I'm pretty sure that my friend and his wife have talked about the social credit system. Rather than gender rejecting care? Yeah, for sure. Mexican Madman, come up into voice chat. Stop being a wuss. We're just gonna have a talk. Man, god damn. I think the problem here is that you simply have a wrong definition of socialist. Socialism is about who owns the means of production, not social rewards and criminalization. Yeah, like, if you're going to criticize socialism, you need to be talking about the same kind of socialism that, like, political and economic theorists are talking about. You can't just make up your own definition of what socialism is. Did Guess Who Farted This guy just disappear? Wow, what a coward. He ran away. What the fuck? Well, whoops. No longer in chat. Wow. Dude, you're a fucking idiot. You're a discount lawyer. They even made this law. All right, I'll pull up the law. Oh no, I better run. Yeah, I changed it to an MBA. He claimed... I don't know if you guys know the scale of the LSAT, but it goes from 120 to 180. And I said I got a 176. 176 at the time that I got it was a 99.6 percentile score. So he claimed to have a higher score than that. He claimed to have a 0.4 percentile, like the last 0.4 percentile. UJO, that's the whole point we've been talking about. What? It doesn't matter what they identify as. What the fuck? What the fuck? UJO, be consistent in the way you think about things. Mexican Madman, I don't want to change topics. I want you to come up here and talk to me like a human being. There's no need to be a wuss about this. Just come talk. Yeah, Grimmate, you can try. I'm not dodging. I'm telling you to come talk to me. That's not dodging. I want to have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. If you want to talk to me about abortion, we can talk about abortion too. Just come up and have a conversation. This is like you're passing me notes in public, and I'm like, dude, just talk to me. And you're like, no, I want to keep passing notes. Well, I'm not going to keep passing notes with you. Grimmate, I don't see the link. I guess it didn't let you post it. You can post the link to the video in the Discord. I'll post that. I'll make sure that that link is still good because they fucking change the Discord link all the time. Yeah, that one's still good. I do need to get the boost so it can stop changing. Mexican Madman, like, currently I'm sitting here, like, just thinking you don't know what the difference between sex and gender is. And so, like, I can't have that whole conversation in text with you going back and forth, like, taking the long amount of time you do to write something. Just, like, talk. Passing notes like a dweeb instead of talking to your crush like a chat. Austin is the baddie in this scenario. Thank you, Daft Tracks. Thank you. I mean, if we're not going to have a conversation, like, I'm at the point of, like, winding down. But just for the fun of it, since we've got certain types of people in the audience right now, I want to find that link again. So, because I feel like these are the type of people that would deny that this exists. So I want to show them video evidence that they can't deny so that when they deny it in person, they can just be ashamed. There it is. Let's put that one back up real quick. We're going to watch this one again because it's just so upsetting. This is the definition of come get your boy. Oh. This is one of the ICE protesters down on the ground. The group is claiming that he is not one of them.
Okay, good.
You alright, dude? You alright? He's one of us.
How do we know?
How we know? I was with him earlier.
Why you get ran out earlier?
I don't know. He's one of us.
I'm with them.
Trust me.
Trust me.
He's been with us the whole time.
You touched us, bro. You good?
You alright, man?
Come get your boy.
Back up. Back up. Yeah, save your Nazi. Put him in your Nazi van.
Literal ICE instigator in the protest crowd.
Fucking mental health there. Don't he? Nobody got guns. Yeah, you gonna look me in the eye when you spray me? You gonna look me in the eye when you spray me? You gonna be just like the fucking bad that you spray, right?
Yeah, yeah. Grim8 in YouTube chat gets it. That's fucking crazy. Undeniable evidence. Of disguised ICE instigators in the protest crowds. Well, it looks like our drama people have left entirely. UJO is gone. Mexican Madman is gone. They don't like being confronted on their ideas. They don't like being confronted on the fact that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's amazing how quickly somebody can just drop. Like, you know, we can talk about it. We can talk about you being wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong unless you are satisfied being wrong. Know everything. None of us do that. We know nothing. We just aim to have a high degree of confidence. And with that, guys, I'm going to call it a night. I'm Know Nothing Attorney. I know nothing, so you can too. Because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can actually learn anything. And that's what we do here every day. As always, I'm proud of you. I don't need to know you personally for that to be real. It's true, and you deserve to hear it. If only because, at a minimum, life is hard. It's always been hard and always will be hard. But the way you face each and every single day the way you do is remarkable. So stay remarkable, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, y'all. I'll be back on tomorrow night. Probably after 11 Central. You know, real jobs and shit. Wish we didn't have to. All right. Y'all rest well. Hope y'all have a good Martin Luther King Jr. day.